Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Fat Loss Basics. Crazy to think here we are, well, as of the time I'm recording this, 10 days away from the holiday, which is nuts. It just feels like this has moved so fast. My screen set up here. Beautiful, beautiful. One thing that actually happened over the weekend, I never really posted about this or said anything about it, but Fat Loss Basics, also known as Don't Call Me Skinny, hit 4 years in the making. So we are officially 4 years old. We launched December 13th of 2021. So what I love about this is I'm clearly not new to this. And this is really exciting. It's crazy to think that 4 years ago, we clicked send on this podcast. And here we are. Started out with 1 time a week. I'm reminiscing a little here. Moved to 2 times a week, to 3 times a week, back to 1 time or 2 times a week, which is where we are right now. A little bit of a rebrand with Fat Loss Basics. And I love it. I'm just here. I'm here for it and I love it. So thank you all for being a part of it. If you are an avid listener, I really appreciate you. If you're a brand new listener today, welcome. Very excited to have you here and to see what this next year brings. Very excited the direction that we're going to be taking the podcast, which is going to be a little bit more towards my actual method that I have adopted and utilize within my coaching space. So here we go. All right. So let's talk about this. So December 14th, we're talking today about the common themes that I have seen over the last 4 years that I wish have gone away, but have not. And why the basics of health are so much more important today than they were however many years ago, right? And the patterns and the diet culture shit that is still prevalent here, you guys. This is still prevalent 4 years later. So I'm going to talk about these things that I think are the biggest key things after having, at this point, I've been doing this for over 5 years. And it is absolutely wild to me what we still are dealing with in this space, in the health and wellness, I'd say that in quotations, space. Because it's just wild to me that we are still believing these things. So I'm going to talk about these patterns that were 4 years ago when I started this podcast that are still relevant today that I would love to see go the fuck away. Okay. So what I want to say this is preface this by saying so many women, when I talk to them, they feel very stuck. They feel like they are, like they just don't know what to do. And they're not sure what their next step is. That's why I do the Fix My Fat Loss assessment. Links in show notes if you want in. And it's a free assessment that tells you, like, if I were you and I was your coach, this is the very first thing that we would focus on. So that's what we want to be doing now. And oftentimes I hear this phrase. This is the most common phrase that I think maybe I've ever heard. I heard on Saturday when talking to somebody brand new to my world, Friday night. I know what to do. I just don't do it, or I just need to do it. So it's not because we are not stuck because we know too much or because we don't know enough, right? We're stuck because you have never built a foundation of health. We wake up one day, we decide that we're going to go all in, and we do 1,000 different things. We do extreme ass shit, and we rush into things. We don't have an actual plan. We overcomplicate things. We're still listening to fucking Jenny on TikTok. Stop listening to Jenny on TikTok, please, for the fucking life of me. Okay. And so I want to talk about a lot of these common things that I still hear that sound logical, that are self-aware things, right? But they aren't actually the things that are holding you back. And I want to show you how all of them come back to building a foundation of health. Okay. If you don't have a foundation, you don't got shit. And that's with anything, right? You build a house, you have a foundation. You build a car, you have a foundation. You build a school curriculum, there's a foundation. You have to know this to get to that, right? You can't go to 4th grade without going to 1st grade. Why? Because you haven't built those foundation pieces yet. When you go into kindergarten, you're learning shapes, you're learning colors, you're learning numbers. Then you start learning how to put those, we'll go with specifics. You start learning how to put those letters that you're learning into fucking sequential order to create words. Then you take those words that you're learning and learn how to write a sentence. You take the sentence, you learn how to write a paragraph. You take the paragraph, you learn how to write a paper. You write the paper, maybe one day you write a book. Who the fuck knows? Thinking about that myself, writing a book one day. I don't know. We'll see. I've thought about it so many times. I used to want to write so bad when I was younger. I created my own sideways story from Wayside School. So also, if you want to take some time here, screenshot, share this. If you are an avid listener, it does help me get out into the world. Tag me in it, please. There may be a little something fun for you on the back end of that. And so I want to be able to get this out to as many people as possible. And I am word of mouth only. So celebrate, my 4 years. I would love it if you could just take a screenshot and share this with the world. That would be super duper fucking cool. Okay. So the very first pattern that I constantly see here is the I don't have time pattern. It's almost like there's this invisible thing that like sucks the time away from us, right? And I believe that. It feels that way, right? This is why we talk a lot about feelings aren't necessarily reality. But I'm sure at some point in time, like, I don't have time for that, right? And the reality is that you're not failing because you don't have enough time, okay? There's typically something that's a little bit more underlying. Other things are taking more what we call priority, or there's no structure, there's no plan. You're not actually setting time aside. Your boundaries are fucked up. Like you're saying yes to too many things, saying no to yourself, right? And the reality is that a lot of women think that fat loss has to be, crazy hours in the gym, super complicated meal preps, the aesthetic grocery runs, tracking every little bite, and having this perfect like morning routine. And so when life becomes hard or things come your way that you're not like prepared for, it gets a lot more full, right? That's the invisible thing that's like sucking out this time that you thought you had that all of a sudden went away. Kids, work, stress, holidays, parties, all these things that we have going on, and illness. I'm still sick. I don't know if you guys can hear. I'm still sick. I cannot. Whatever this shit is, I cannot shake the fucking shit out of me. I cannot, right? And in turn, it makes fat loss feel completely impossible, right? But I'm going to be super honest with you. When you are building this foundation, it actually doesn't take more time. It actually simplifies the fuck out of everything for you so that you can have simple meals that don't require a lot of effort and energy. Your walking takes less time because it's built in, and your boundaries are better, right? Repeating things or repeating meals and repeating workouts the way it should be done, especially when we're in a fat loss phase. I'm not saying it has to be this way forever. I know some people are like, I don't want to eat the same thing every day. I'm going to tell you this right now. Not every fucking meal needs to be a goddamn event. Not every fucking meal needs to be this wow thing. Okay. So when we repeat things, it takes less time. Knowing what are my messy minimums. We talk a lot about this. I also have a freebie you can get into with it is it's my Ruthlessly Consistent freebie. And the messy minimums, there's an actual PDF that you can have. You download it and it's yours. And it talks about literally just what is the bare minimum that I can call this win or this day a win. That's super important, right? So when you don't have these foundations, you're constantly negotiating and trying to bribe yourself and trying to convince yourself to do these things, where when you just have this foundation of like, what is the bare minimum that I have to do? What is the most simple thing that I can do? This choice over this choice, it actually saves you time, right? And so when you do these things, the decisions are made for you. We're not wrestling with ourselves every single day. Okay. So a lot of times people get confused because I simplify things. I don't add more to. So we're trying to fit fat loss into life, not fit it on top of life. We're not trying to make shit harder. Okay. The second thing I hear is something outside of me is the problem. Hormones, age, time, kids, schedule, metabolism, the life, your relationships, your whatever. Constantly something outside your thyroid, your gut. It's something out there. It's something away from me. I'm pointing away from myself. And all of these things, I want to be super clear, are valid. Okay. They can affect your effort, your hunger, your consistency. It can affect your capacity to even give a shit. It can affect your time. It can affect your schedule. It can affect your metabolism. These are all real things. Okay. But what I have learned after 4 years is that oftentimes when life gets hard and life gets overwhelming, we often respond by abandoning this foundation. Absolutely, completely, 100%. We hit that fuck it button so hard. We skip our meals. We don't give a fuck about protein. We don't move our body in ways that make sense. The structure completely goes away. And then maybe things like our hormones and our energy and our mood and our digestion are in the shitter. Probably because of a reaction from how we're treating our body. Okay? Probably because of how we are actually treating our body. And that sucks. Period. It just sucks. There's something really weird going on with my stuff. It stopped recording my stuff. I'm going to leave here out of my little recording piece and then try to get back into it. Okay? So this is part of the problem, right? And then we point the blame at it's my hormones, it's my things. And it doesn't mean that they're not a problem. I see a lot of women right now, everything's perimenopause and menopause. It's my hormones are fucking everything up. Sure, that's fine. But are you actually in a healthy state to start? Are you treating your body appropriately? Are you eating foods that fuel your body? Are you moving your body? Do you drink enough water? X, Y, Z. Are you doing all the other shit? Because if you're doing all the other shit, one, there's a chance that that problem that you're pointing your finger at actually might improve. Hey, maybe it's still my hormones, but it's not my hormones as bad as what it was before, right? Or maybe those things will just go away. Or maybe those things are still a problem, but at least you can rule out that those things are the problem. Now, it's not because I don't drink water. It's not. I drink water. It's not because I don't move my body. It's not because I'm not fueling. So now we can go back and dissect and say, okay, now we can actually look and say, it is the hormones. We do need to do something here. This is a fucking problem. And not feel bad about it because we know that our foundation is fucking set, right? And this is where we have this buffer or speed bump or whatever you want to call it, okay? The foundations are what make stress manageable. It makes what we can predict hunger with. And it makes us feeling like everything is out of control. I am really congested today. I don't know what is going on. Okay. So when we are eating consistently, prioritizing our protein, walking and moving our body appropriately, suddenly the cravings aren't as bad or overwhelming. Maybe hunger isn't as hard or chaotic or, right? Or the emotional and stress eating doesn't run the show because you actually have some anchors that are grounding you. So life never gets easier. What ends up happening is the foundation that we build gets stronger. Life does not get easier. The foundation we build gets stronger. Okay. All right. The third thing I hear all the time is I'm just too inconsistent, right? If you have ever labeled yourself as I am inconsistent, I want you right now to just take a breath and pause. Inconsistency is not who you are. It is what happens when we often set unrealistic expectations and we don't have a foundation. Can you guys get the gist here of why building a foundation is so big and why I'm so fucking passionate about it? Okay. Most women don't have default meals. So when life throws something at them off the side, they have nothing to fall back on. It's like, okay, shit, I didn't think about this, but I already know I have meat in the thing. I can make up quick rice taco bowls. Perfect. Easy. Right? We don't have minimum standards for movement. Okay. So what is enough movement? What is enough for me today when it's hard, when it's overwhelming, when life comes at me? Remember that being consistent doesn't mean doing the same exact thing every single day. I just did a podcast on this not that long ago. What one was that? Because I literally just did a podcast on how consistency changes every single day. So when we are trying to replicate consistency, we're not trying to replicate it identically. We are trying to just do what is the bare minimum of that day, right? I don't know, doesn't want to do it. If it ever pops up, I'll get it. Alrighty. The fourth thing I hear all the time is I eat clean, but nothing changes. I don't even know why eating clean is still a thing here. I don't get it. And also that episode is 453 from December 5th, and it's called Fat Loss and How Your 100% Changes Daily. That's really key. Okay, eating clean, but nothing changes. Eating clean is quote unquote the responsible thing to do, right? And it feels like we're doing the quote unquote right thing, right? But eating clean doesn't mean shit. That's not a real thing. Women eat healthy foods, but not enough protein. A lot of times we eat clean things that are super high in fat. Nuts, avocados, things like that. Oh, I'm adding EVOO to my whatever that I'm making, but we're adding like a quarter cup of it, right? And not what we actually need. Okay. And so when we tend to eat clean, we are also still eating very calorically dense foods. Now, this doesn't mean it's a bad thing to eat calorically dense foods, but we have to distinguish the difference between eating clean and being in a fat loss phase and eating clean just because it's a quote unquote healthy thing to do. And I just want to fuel my body appropriately. Okay. It's not the same thing. And we have to get away from clean eating equals fat loss. It does not. Okay. Clean eating also does not regulate your hunger. Okay. Protein can regulate hunger. Structure can regulate hunger. Consistently eating meals regulates hunger. The foundation pieces. Eating clean doesn't mean shit. Okay. And this is why the foundations are going to matter more than what the Jenny on TikTok says is clean eating. It's just, we need to stop following Jenny. It's just unfollow the Jenny on TikTok. Sorry, Jenny's out there. If you're a Jenny and you're listening to this, message me. I apologize. Okay. The fifth thing here is I can't stay motivated. You guys, I think one of my very first episodes was around how motivation is bullshit. Maybe top 10, first 10 episodes or less. I want to say first 5 was all about being motivated. Okay. You are never going to be motivated. This is a feeling. Again, we only do things when we feel like we want to do them. Okay. No one stays motivated. Nobody stays all in on shit, especially when we are overcomplicating it, don't fully understand what we're doing, and getting mixed signals on social media about what we should or should not be doing. Because it's like, oh, I should change this. Oh, I should change this. Oh, I should change this. That didn't work. And also, motivation fades. It's not going to be there for a long period of time. So you cannot base something on motivation. Motivation might feel good the first 2 weeks, but what happens by the third week when you're like, fuck this. This is boring. This is some boring ass shit. So I always say it's the granny panties. Motivation is sexy black underwear. Period. It's sexy black underwear. Motivation is not going to keep you in the game or on the field. Okay. Alrighty. The sixth thing here is I should be further along by now. Whew. This belief, I think, harms and hurts women in this process the most. You look at how long you've been trying, aka trying, hence how long you've been motivated. How long were you actually motivated to do something about it? And something must be wrong with you, right? Because usually it's like, I should be here or so-and-so is here. And now we're really seeing this big strain and pull, especially on this when Jenny from TikTok is trying to sell you her GLP-1 that'll get you 27 pounds of fat loss in the first 30 days. Or you see X person at work who started a GLP-1, or X person who had weight loss surgery, or X person who had this thing over here. And now all of a sudden it's like, well, shit. Why am I not losing weight like that? How come I don't look that good now? How come she does it faster? And usually it's not about the fact that you should be further along. It's about your expectation is not where it should be, right? And so there's a multitude of reasons, and I've done many podcasts on this about diet culture teaching us that we should just starve ourselves and or get on this shot and or do this thing extreme over here. And then we're going to get really fast results. And the problem with this is that it doesn't teach you a fucking thing. Being told what to do doesn't teach you anything. Okay? It taught you only to measure progress by how fast that scale drops. It doesn't teach you how to understand what the scale actually does. Weight Watchers, huge fucking piece for me there. I always talk about how it made me feel like a cow, lining up, moo. And everybody would get their thing. And then you'd gain weight and people would look at you side eyes. That did not teach me how the behavior of the scale actually moves. Okay. So we have to understand that the majority of women aren't behind. We just haven't spent enough time doing the actual foundation pieces. That's why when people come to me and they say, this next one, it really, really gets my knickers in a twist. It really gets my knickers in a twist. Okay. And that thing is, I've tried everything. But have you? You've tried plans. You've tried rules. You've tried extremes. You followed Jenny on TikTok and the thing that she was going to sell you. You've bought this supplement. You've bought into that fad thing. But have you done these things consistently for 2 years? Eating protein at every meal. Made it simple as shit. Have you walked 5 out of the 7 days at 7,000 to 10,000 steps a day for 2 years? Okay. Have you given yourself a realistic timeline and plan with structure for 2 years? Have you stopped doing all the flashy squirrel things and done the boring ass granny panty consistent shit? Right? Have we managed our stress well or gotten at least some tools to do so? Have we drank enough water and stopped, walking around like a dehydrated bitch all day long? For 2 years. I'm talking for 2 years. When women tell me, I've done everything. Oh, you've done all these things for 2 fucking years. When you can tell me that you've done all those things for 2 years with 85% consistency, that doesn't mean being perfect. We're not about perfection. 85% consistency. Let's do the math. At 365 days, come on, calculator. That's 365 times 2. That's a total of 730 days times 0.805. That's 620 days. So you get 110 and a half, technically, because it's 620.5. 110 days out of 2 years to fuck around and find out. And you can still reach your goal. And a lot of times I a lot of times only do 80% consistent. And that's even worse because that's, I don't know, hang on, now I have to do math. 730 times 584. 150 days to fuck around and find out in 2 years. That's like a quarter of a year. That's almost a half of a year. That's almost 6 months, right? Let's say average is 30 days, 156 divided by 30. That's 5.2 months, 5.5 months to do whatever. And most women have not tried those things consistently. Period, end dot. You have not been for 2 years doing that shit consistently. Sorry. So you haven't tried everything. That's a false statement. Okay. So that was my last one. After 5 years of coaching, 4 years of podcasting, this is what I know. Fat loss for women doesn't fail because we aren't capable. You are not capable. You are not broken. You don't need to be fixed. There's nothing wrong with you. Yes, you're going to have speed bumps along the way. That's just normal shit that you're going to have to deal with, right? It fails because we don't have a foundation. It fails because we rushed it. It fails because you overcomplicate it. So if you're listening to this episode, you're like, oh my God, that's me. I said every one of those things. You guys need to be in my Fat Loss Basics group coaching. I don't know any other way to say this. If you have tried everything and nothing works, you need to come with me and actually see what 6 months of consistency looks like. Six of it. A whole 6 months. And keep in mind, that's only 1/4 of 2 years that it's probably going to fucking take. Okay? If you're not interested in that, but you're like, man, this still sounds like me, Fix My Fat Loss Assessment is in there. Okay? And I also have my Ruthlessly Consistent freebie that you can have too. It gives you a couple different ways to go about learning how to be better with your consistency and learning how to simplify this process so you can feel better about it. All right? So if you guys have questions on anything, if you're like, I really want to get into that, but I don't know anything about it, all you got to do is reach out, let me know, and I would be happy to have a chat with you about Fat Loss Basics. Is this the right move for you? Here's the deal. But I'm going to be super honest. If I don't think that you're a good fit because you don't sound committed, you don't sound ready, you're not there yet, I'm going to say, I just don't think this is a proper fit right now. Maybe in 3 months, here's what I would do until then. Because I don't want just anybody in my space. I want people who are ready to change their life, who are ready to say, fuck these excuses. Yes, there's going to be problems, but I'm going to figure that shit out as I go, and I'm going to fucking do it anyway. I always talk about this one particular client of mine who literally has every reason in the book never to have hired me. She is the epitome of don't hire Sarah. She has an extreme medical condition that prevents her from doing so many things. She is one of the most consistently showing up people in my group coaching. Why? Because she's like, I'm tired of this allowing me to say that this holds me back. And this is not all just a problem. Is it a speed bump in my journey? Yes. Can it cause me problems? Yes. What do? We shift and adjust around those. We shift and we adjust around those. We shift and we make exceptions. We figure out, okay, plan A didn't work. We got plan B. Plan B didn't work. Plan C. Plan C's fucking working. Let's go. Let's try this instead. And she's the exact person who should not hire me based off of all of this criteria that I talked about today. And I love that for her. And she's absolutely crushing it. So if she can do it, I'm telling you right now, you can fucking do it. Okay? All right. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Thanks again so much for joining me on this podcast today and for the last 4 years of letting me be in your speakers, in your headphones, who knows where else. I just really appreciate an opportunity to show up for you and be here with you. So thanks so much. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Catch you on Friday's episode.